Lumos. Hello everyone, welcome back to Marvelous Marauders. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how I would structure Season 1 of the HBO Max Harry Potter Reboot series. Today we are going to explore how the series could be adapted, which parts of the story I'd give more detail to, and how I'd handle each episode. But first, before we get into that, let's talk about the big question. Do we even need a reboot? Now, we all know the Harry Potter series is beloved by millions and have become a massive part of pop culture. So with the news of an HBO Max reboot, the question is, do we really need it? I think that's something we all need to ask ourselves. On one hand, the original films are practically perfect for a lot of people. The magic, the characters, the world, it's all unforgettable. But then again, a new adaptation could open the door to explore the story more deeply. Think about it. We could have more time to focus on small details we didn't get in the films, or dive deeper into the wizarding world itself. For example, the books have such rich content that got cut for time in the movies. That said, a reboot also risks stepping on the toes of the original films. And that's no small thing. So what do you think? Is a reboot necessary? Or should we just leave the magic of the original films as they are? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about casting. If a Harry Potter reboot does happen, one of the biggest challenges will be casting. The original film cast is legendary, and I think we can all agree it's going to be tough to find people who can fill those big shoes. But here's the thing. I don't have any specific casting suggestions for you today. We're not diving into which actors should play Harry, Hermione, Ron, or anyone else. Except for maybe Jacob Isaacs playing Hermione. That one's kind of a good idea. Instead, let's focus on how important it is that the casting captures the spirit of the character. Harry, Hermione, and Ron are so ingrained in our minds thanks to the original films. So whoever takes on those roles has to bring something fresh, while also honoring the core of who these characters are. And of course, it's not just about the trio. Every supporting role, from Snape to Voldemort to Dumbledore, it's essential to get this series right. Sure, there have been casting rumors out there, but ultimately, I think we need to trust the team behind the reboot to find the right fit. The pressure is on, but with the right people in place, we could be in for something truly magical. What do you think about casting possibilities? Do you have anyone in mind? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's dive into how I'd structure Season 1. This will be a 10-episode season, and I want to break down each episode and talk about the key points I'd focus on. Episode 1 is going to cover chapters 1 and 2, The Boy Who Lived and the Vanishing Glass. The first episode is going to follow the day of Vernon Dursley. The colors in this episode will be dull. The only time we see color is whenever we see magical people. So we then get the opening from the movies, which is Dumbledore, McGonagall, and Hagrid delivering Harry to the Dursleys. It's going to play out almost the exact same way, and then the next couple of scenes are just a quick montage of Harry as he's growing up with the Dursleys and weird, unexplained things happening and him getting in trouble and not knowing why. We finally catch up with Harry waking up on Dudley's birthday to tapping on his door of the stairs. It plays out like normal, then we cut to the reptile house, showing a day at the zoo, then Harry talking to the Brazilian boa. Events play out like normal, and the episode ends with Harry picking up his Hogwarts letter and flipping it over. As the letter flips over, the dull background starts to seem a little more colorful, almost emanating from where Harry is standing. Episode 2 is going to be covering chapters 3 and 4, The Letters from No One and The Keeper of the Keys. Episode 2 is where things start to explode. Magically, not physically. Well, maybe a little physically, mail coming through a chimney and all. Every time Harry gets a letter, things seem to gain a little more color. But then every time Vernon does something to keep Harry from getting those letters, it goes back to dull. So throughout the episode, it's going to be colorful, then dull, colorful, then dull, just to build up that excitement. And it's just going to be a light colorful for now. When we finally get to the hut on the rock, though, we count down to Harry's 11th birthday. This is the dullest, grayest moment of the episode. It's almost black and white. Until midnight. And there's a knock on the door. And when the door comes crashing down, the dull gray cabin gains full color. We are then introduced, once again, to Hagrid. He then explains everything to Harry. We end the episode with Harry going to sleep. Episode 3 is going to follow Chapter 5, Diagon Alley. We start the episode with the screen black and hear a tapping. It's reminiscent to the first episode when Petunia wakes Harry up. We hear Harry mumble, "I'm getting up." And then the scene lightens up to reveal that he isn't under the stairs, but is on the floor, in a hut on a rock. And an owl is tapping at the window. Everything is so colorful in the hut, and the episode only gets more colorful as we get further into the episode. Diagon Alley plays out like it always does, and we actually meet Draco and Madame Malkins, sparking the conversation later with Hagrid about Slytherin. We end the episode going back to Privet Drive, where Harry now has color and his surroundings are dull and boring. Episode 4 is going to cover Chapter 6 and 7, the journey from Platform 9 3/4 and the Sorting Hat. We open on the dull, colorless Privet Drive. Harry is preparing to leave. And as he steps onto the train, the color slowly starts returning, intensifying as he meets Ron and Hermione. The journey to Hogwarts plays out introducing key characters like Neville and Draco, with the latter's presence slightly draining the color from the scene. The sorting ceremony follows with the Great Hall being the most vibrant and magical place Harry has seen so far. This episode ends with Harry looking around the Gryffindor common room, now fully immersed in this world. Episode 5 is going to cover Chapters 8 and 9, the Potions Master and the Midnight Duel. This episode focuses on two key elements: Snape's antagonism towards Harry, and the rivalry between Gryffindor and Slytherin. The color motif shifts here. Potions class is visually dim and shadowy, emphasizing Snape's control over the environment. Also kind of hinting there's something about Snape that we're not sure if we can trust or not. Meanwhile, the Midnight Duel sequence takes place under moonlight, with the castle's shifting staircases and eerie glow creating an unsettling atmosphere. The episode ends with Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Neville discovering Fluffy, the first real sign of danger at Hogwarts. Episode 6 is going to be covering Chapters 10 and 11, Halloween and Quidditch. This episode balances fear and excitement. The Halloween sequence has a darker, more chaotic color scheme as the troll rampages through the castle, culminating in Harry and Ron saving Hermione, solidifying their friendship. Meanwhile, the Quidditch match is bright and golden and full of high energy, motion, and intensity. The episode ends with Harry learning that Snape might be up to something and realizing there's more going on at Hogwarts than he initially thought. Episode 7 covers 12 and 13, The Mirror of Erised and Nicholas Flamel. The Mirror of Erised scene takes on a dreamy, ethereal quality, with the colors fading slightly when Harry looks into it, almost like stepping into another world. The episode explores his longing for family and Dumbledore's warning about dwelling on the past. Meanwhile, Hermione's research into Nicholas Flamel adds urgency, tying the emotional weight of the mirror to the greater mystery surrounding the Sorcerer's Stone. Episode 8 is covering Chapters 14 and 15, Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback and the Forbidden Forest. The warm, flickering glow of Hagrid's hut contrasts against the cold, dark, forbidden forest. The first half of the episode follows the chaos of hiding Norbert, while the second half takes a darker turn as Harry and Draco serve detention in the forest. The encounter with the hooded figure drinking unicorn blood is one of the eeriest moments so far, with shadows creeping, ultimately hinting at Voldemort's growing presence. Episode 9 is covering Chapter 16, Through the Trapdoor. This is the penultimate episode. This is the adventure episode. The challenges, Fluffy, the Devil's Snare, the Flying Keys, the chess match. Each have distinct color palettes, reflecting their tone and danger. The chess match is particularly intense, with the pieces glowing ominously as they move. The episode ends with Harry stepping into the final chamber to confront Quirrell, cutting to black as he gasps upon seeing what's inside. Episode 10 covers the final chapter, The Man with Two Faces. The final episode is the most visually intense. The reveal of Voldemort on the back of Quirrell's head is surreal and horrifying, with shadows shifting unnaturally around him. The confrontation is full of dramatic lighting, emphasizing the power struggle. As Voldemort leaves Quirrell, the colors shift, Harry collapses, and the world darkens. Then fades back to normal as he wakes up in the hospital wing. The year wraps up with Dumbledore explaining things to Harry, and the final scene shows him stepping onto the train to go to platform 9 3/4. The vibrant world of Hogwarts fading back into the dullness of Privet Drive. Until next year. So that's how I would structure the first season of the Harry Potter reboot series. There's so much more we could explore, but I think these episodes would really set the stage for what's to come, using lighting and color to really tell the story and how characters feel and who is good and who is bad and who should we like and who should we dislike. But the use of color is very key to making this series work. Now I want to hear from you. If you were in charge of the reboot, what would you do? What moments or characters would you want to focus on? Also, do you think this reboot can live up to the original films? Or should we just let the magic of the books and movies stand as it is? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more Harry Potter content. Until next time, keep casting spells, Nox.